How can you find historical context for Pentateuch events? Imagine trying to piece together a puzzle where some pieces are missing or unclear. That's what understanding the events in the Pentateuch can feel like without knowing their historical background. The Pentateuch, which includes the first 5 books of the Bible, is the foundation of Jewish scripture. It contains stories, laws, and traditions that shape the identity of the ancient Israelites. To truly grasp these stories, we need to see them within the bigger picture of the ancient Near East. Start by looking at the timeline. The stories in Genesis, like creation and the patriarchs, are set in a time long before recorded history. Then, the focus shifts to the Exodus, when the Israelites left Egypt. Pinpointing exact dates is tricky because the text was written and compiled over many centuries. Scholars often consider the period before the patriarchs and the time after the Exodus as two main phases. The date of the Exodus is debated, but many believe it happened around the 15th or 13th century BCE. This anchor helps place other events in a rough chronological order. Next, consider the sources and how the Pentateuch was put together. It is believed that different authors and traditions contributed to the text over hundreds of years. Some parts emphasize rituals and order, while others focus on laws and the covenant between God and Israel. Recognizing these layers helps us see how the stories evolved and why they matter to different communities at different times. The biblical text also contains references to kings, cities, and customs that match what we know from other ancient Near Eastern records. For example, mentions of Egyptian rulers or Mesopotamian cities help us connect biblical stories with real historical places and events. Archaeological discoveries, like inscriptions and artifacts, give us clues about the cultures and societies that surrounded the Israelites. While not every event has direct evidence, these external sources help us understand the environment in which these stories developed. Understanding the historical context of the Pentateuch is about more than verifying facts. It's about seeing how these stories reflected the experiences, laws, and faith of the community that preserved them. The stories about covenant and divine guidance are rooted in real historical settings, which give them even more meaning. By studying timelines, sources, and archaeological findings, we gain a clearer picture of how these ancient stories fit into history. To do this practically, look at biblical genealogies and timelines to get a sense of the sequence of events. Explore the different sources within the Pentateuch to see how they reflected different periods. Compare biblical stories with ancient Egyptian and Mesopotamian records to find similarities and differences. Use scholarly books and commentaries that focus on the historical background of biblical texts. Reflecting on these facts helps deepen your appreciation of how the stories in the Pentateuch connect to real history and the faith of the Jewish people.